Hey guys, Wheatywaffle here today, and we are back in the beautiful city of Lethe playing some City Skylines 2. I know I've mentioned this before, but this particular skyscraper is beautiful. I want to mark it as historic. I'm obsessed with that skyscraper. This road is really actually becoming like something fierce. Okay, so in the last part, we did. Let me unpause so we can fix the lighting here. In the last part, we removed this massive central section from our city, which honestly, I'm so grateful that we did because it just needed to go. I think what we're also going to do, we're going to jump right into this episode. I want to make some changes here to some of our zoning down in this area because I want to redevelop some of this into a new neighborhood. I have an idea. It's going to take some work and we're going to have to do some mulligans, but I think it's all going to be worth it. So the first step is we're going to go ahead and hit play. We're going to just let it run. I want to remove some of the bus stops, and I will say, and I know some of you have mentioned this, I'm learning the game still, but there's definitely too many bus stops in this little area. So let's go ahead and just get rid of all 4 of these. And let's get rid of this bus stop as well. If we go back to our bus loops now, we should be able to switch over here and remove these stops, which I think all around is going to help us out a bit. Get rid of all of that. You come over here, you do this little loop around. All right, great. So there's no stops at least. So when we start deleting things, it's not going to be the end of the world. I am going to get rid of this stop as well. And then I think that's where we'll leave it. We're not going to remove this Lake Street since that's a main road, but I think everything back here is up for readjustment. I'm even going to go in and de-zone most of this land. There's not a ton of people who live over here. There's a decent amount, but it's nothing crazy. So I think if we just got rid of all of this, we'll be in a better spot. I'm also going to get rid of the people who live in this area as well. Okay, so now all of this has been cleared out. If we come over here, I do love this little park area that we have, but I think this is also going to change. And I think we're going to need to do a bit of adjustments over here. So what kind of buses do we have here? Okay, we have no buses on this section of road, which is helpful. Okay, so let's go ahead. It's raining. We've got a lot going on around here, but let's go ahead and remove all of these zoned buildings that we just de-zoned this area for. And because I think that there's probably a nicer way to do this neighborhood. And now that we have the German and the French buildings, I kind of want to incorporate them a bit more into this area. So let's just get rid of all this. I mean, these are beautiful houses. But it just isn't working. What's this? An office. Get rid of that, because there's going to be nowhere for you to be zoned. Get rid of this. I think we can get rid of all of these connections here. Also seems to be a serious need for more parking. So something we'll have to address. Get rid of those homes, this home. I kind of want to adjust this a little bit. So let's do this. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Get rid of this. Let's then use the curve tool. Okay, so now we have a bit better of a connection there. Let's go ahead and smooth this out. I think we could just get in here, soften this terrain a little bit. I know that one of the mods I have was allegedly trying to work on these like clipping features and stopping them from happening. Who knows if that's actually going to happen or not, but they were supposed to try to fix that. Some things might zone in here. I think this whole block is really going to be subject to change. And in fact, instead of waiting for it to change, we're just going to, what is this? A small medical clinic. Okay, you got to go. We're going to just delete all of this as well. So Belmont is now a much smaller area, but even still with that, we still have 8,600 residents. So I'm not too concerned because Belmont's a small district, but this wasn't making up a ton of that district. I guess some of that was from Linden Crest as well. Okay, so we've gotten rid of all of this. This here is our welfare office. I think we're going to keep that. I'm happy with that being positioned there. I do want to get rid of all of these trees that are here in the center. So let's switch over to the tree brush. Let's turn off only matching type. Let's turn down the brush size. And then let's hold right click and just start deleting the trees. Basically, all the trees in this area are going to be deleted, especially these decorative ones that we placed. And actually, brush strength can be at 100 because I don't want anything left over here. Get rid of all of this. Get rid of all of this. Get rid of all of these trees here that I so painstakingly placed. I think it's okay. It's time. Get rid of all of this up to this train here. Okay. We're also going to come in here and we're going to remove all of these paths. They're beautiful. They served their purpose, but I don't need them right now. And this school is only zoned for Hawthorne Heights. It is the only operating district it works in. Hawthorne Heights, though, has 2,000 students. So this school is not big enough to serve as Hawthorne Heights. So we're going to have to make an adjustment there as well. Okay, so the city is getting a new school. At least that community is getting a new school, at a minimum. So what I want to do now that we have cleared out most of this area, a pretty large area if we're going to be honest, I want to change some of the roads that we have here. If I look at some of our road options, we've got 4-lane one-way roads, which I think are a little bit too large. They're pretty big. I don't necessarily think we have that much traffic in this area, so I think that that's maybe overkill. So if we look at the small roads, we have 2- and 3-lane small roads. I think let's do the 2-lane small roads. Let's turn off both of these things, although can I do this instead? I can. Okay, before we do anything, I do have to do one more check. We have a bus route here. We're going to have to go back in and reevaluate some of these buses because if you notice, this bus route here does a lot of looping around, and that's not ideal. It should not be making that many crazy loops. So there will be a bus episode, I think, here in the near future. I know we did one a bit ago, but I think it's time. I think our city has grown enough that we want to change up how this works. Okay, if I'm looking at this road, the left side is going down and the right side is going up. So if I turn here, I want the left side to go down and the right side to go up. What does that mean? This road here is going to be our left side. That's going to come down. We're going to take this road and send it straight on down like this with a one-way connection. And then we are also going to take this road, connect here at the 90, and connect straight on down and through. Just like so. It overlapped some of our previous stuff that was there. I'm totally fine with that. So now we have this new road, Bishop Avenue, that's going straight on down. I am going to cut off this curve. I think the curve is going to be a bit of a problem for us in the future. So then let's go ahead and figure out how we want to go forward. I kind of want to have the other road go up this direction. So I think let's do this. Let's get rid of that road entirely. And let's use this road. Let's turn on our contour lines as well. Let's use this road as our opposing one-way infrastructure. Send this out at the 90, straight on up. And for now, it's at least going to go to here. We might change a portion of this block. I don't yet know, although we have a decent amount of space here. Okay, so now we've created a bit of a rectangle. All right, let's turn off all of these snap twos because there's just too much going on. Go just like this, then go straight, turn this back on, and send it out to here, nice and straight. And I think we can go ahead and connect. Do we connect up to this road? I think we do. So let's actually take it straight a little bit further. Go ahead and give it a curve here. And then we're going to go ahead and do a curve like this around the backside of these buildings. It did end up causing this building to delete. That's okay. Let's just go ahead and dezone it. We'll come back and fix you in a bit. What's going on there? Why is the ground just shooting through the pavement? Okay, so we've reconnected up this road here along the bottom portion. Now that gives me a place, I think, to dead end. Let's turn off the keys. Let's give it trees and grass. Gives me a place to dead end this road right here. And then for this one, we're going to turn it on straight. I'm going to build it backwards. And then we will rotate it the correct way. Now that we have that, I think I also want to switch over to a 2-lane road and just make sure that's a straight connection along the bottom there. Okay? And then we come up this way, and we actually have almost a decent connection right here. So I think what I want to do, remove this 2-lane road is going to come straight on out to here and connect up and in. And this is going north in one-way direction, and this is also a one-way road. I actually think, you know what? No, back that up. I think what we had before might have been better. Trees and grass. Let's send this up to here. And then can we do like a nice little curve in? Yeah. And we send that up this way. I think that looks pretty good. It's interesting what it did here in front of these buildings. I'm not mad about it though. So now we've got this a little bit of a crazy set of connections. So let's just remove some of these crosswalks. I think both of those are relevant. That's relevant. All 3 of these are relevant. Okay. We'll leave it like that. That works. I want to change up this area here where these are connecting. I don't like how this is working. So what I'm going to do, we're going to lose some cars. There's going to be some changes to this that we're just going to have to get comfortable with. Go ahead and turn all that off. And let's do a straight connection 90-90 from here to here. Better yet, if I just took this and never curved it and it became a straight road, where would that connect? Wouldn't connect anywhere great. Nope, we're going to leave it unpaused because part of this is like we're going to lose some people. That's okay. Keep it at the 90. Connect it to there. Connect this at the 90. Turn everything off except for angle. Trying to figure out like how we make this look nice because we do have essentially 2 opposing roads kind of coming together. But this one way could feed into the rest of this city here. So I think what we do is this. Remove this. Go back to our one way. Give it trees, right? We want it to have trees and everything along both sides. I don't exactly know why this one can't have trees, but oh well. And then let's take a curved portion of this, turn on this, and let's go like this, and then switch back to straight and go like this. So now this one-way road has a place to go. It does mean that I probably could change up this whole little area. So I think we get rid of everyone living over here, just dezone everything we have in this section, and then remove all these homes. And again, this is going to ruin some of the bus network, so that's something I'm going to have to come back to and fix in the future. Because if I look now, actually, we've actually not interrupted this bus. This bus is wrecked. we gotta do something different there. I want to change this so that this road is coming over and connecting up to this road here. So I think we have to do a little bit more dezoning. Let's D-zone here, D-zone all of this, D-zone here, and even D-zone these guys living under the highway. Get rid of this. And then I think we also get rid of the curved portion of this road. Because now what we do, we had parking on the exterior side. On the right side was parking. Right? No, other way. There we go. We send this road right along the train track. But now what we do is we curve this in to kind of match the train a bit, I think. There's the road that we want. Okay, perfect. And then now that we're at this point, this does not need to be a one-way because we're past that kind of loop we created. So I think this can be upgraded to a 2-lane road, trees on both sides. Yeah. Trees on both sides, keep that looking nice. And then here, I think what we could do is we have this alleyway that connects through. Let's do this. Let's take this alleyway, connect it over at the 90, but we notice it creates a ton of crosswalks here. So let's remove all the crosswalks on the alleyway street. I don't think we need those necessarily. I think we then take this connection straight on up here at the 90. I think we get rid of this road, which is also going to cause an issue with this bus stop. So that's been reconnected. We'll come back and change that later. I actually think, you know what? Delete this. This is going to be the new area where our school is going to go. But first, we got to change some of our zones because I don't think they make as much sense anymore. Unfortunately for this section, we are going to have to turn on anarchy because just the way that I built this, anarchy seems to be a requirement for anything to work. So Hall District is made up of what used to include the old City Hall. So now we've made some new neighborhoods, which is very exciting. We've fixed all of these here. If we look at our district view, we've kind of gotten all this sorted, which is great. Now, what are we going to do here in Washington Glade and in Hawthorne Heights? So first and foremost, we've got to re-add this elementary school to Hawthorne Heights. They do not have enough support here. I think what we could get away with is building out one of these newer elementary schools. So let's try out the DE elementary school, the German elementary. What does that look like here on the corner? I think that's beautiful. I'm a huge fan. I am going to use Move It just really quickly and drag it directly into the corner so that we get the most usage out of this that we can. We have some upgrades here. We have a extension wing, which adds 500 students, so we'll definitely do that. And then we also have a gym extension, 20 outdoor recreation, so we'll add that as well. The operating district here is just going to be Hawthorne Heights. This school can hold 2,000 students, but we remember that Hawthorne Heights actually now has just under 2,000. It's going to have a few more once we do a bit more zoning, but for now, that will work just fine. We had also removed a pretty substantial park from this area, and I'm wondering where we think we could reincorporate that park. We removed some of the zoning here, so there could be an opportunity to place it kind of this direction. Or is what we do here instead, let's do this. Let's move the school to this corner. Move it here, and then we're going to use Move It. Much better spot for it. Okay, so there's the new school. Then that gives us this area to put in our stadium, our park. I'm going to anarchy this in only because I don't actually think it's intersecting with too much. We'll turn on Move It. We'll scoot it over. And if we zoom in here, it's nothing that's quote unquote intersecting is blocking any parts of that road. So that's okay with me. But now we've got like a little stadium here for the school. I think what I also would like to do is change out the zoning type we have here. We've not used the German zoning type yet. So let's go ahead and remove these buildings. And then let's do some German medium density buildings along this road here. I think right behind them, we could totally put in a little pathway. I think that would look pretty nice. Okay, and then we could also put one in along the backside of the school this direction, going from here over to here. And I think we might even leave this section open, if I'm being totally honest. Let's get rid of this roundabout here. It's going to give us a touch of zoning back on both sides, which is nice. Let's go ahead and extend this road straight on out. Do we want another road going straight through? I would argue I'd rather have an alley go straight through, an alleyway. And then I'm going to turn off all of the crossings along the main road for the alleyway, as well as the lights. That way you can just kind of drive right on through, not have to worry about that as much. So that gives us a whole new block that we can zone. And I think I'd like to maybe rework this block as well. So let's move Washington Glade Post Office. It operates in these 4 districts. I think I'm going to move this to this corner here. Turn off Anarchy. Let's place it right along here. Turn it back on. There we go. So now we've got that there. And then that gives me the opportunity to fill in this neighborhood as well. I think what we could do is we could connect this Fairview Road with this alleyway we have here. What is that called? Sunset Lane. So let's grab our path tool. I think we send it out 32 units. I think we send this one out 32 units, and then from there we make a nice curved connection between those two. In Washington Glade, I think this little section is going to have some German style buildings. I want to have them facing the interior as much as possible. Don't really worry about how these paths look just yet. They're only there for the moment. Can we get rid of this and still get kind of zoning on both sides? Yeah, that works. All right, remove all this. Go back to our zones. Looks nice. So let's go ahead and do some German mixed use housing in these areas. Along the main roads, we're going to do German mixed use. Okay. I think that makes a lot of sense. Then in the center that are really against the... I think that one's fine. Against this this little lane, Franklin Lane is what it's now been called. We're going to use the German style medium density housing. I really just want to see this area here zoned before I put in these corner pieces, but you know what? Let's just do it and see what happens. So that's going to give us a whole nother swath of people. As of right now, 2,700 residents live in Washington Glade, and this I think is going to definitely change up this neighborhood for sure. In this area, I'm thinking I would like to do some low rent French housing. I thought this looked really, really nice from the other area we built it. Let's see if we can get some medium or low density French housing over here. It's going to tank that demand for high density residential, but I think it's just going to look really good in this section. And then I would be comfortable with doing some maybe French townhomes all along Copper Street. So let's go ahead, and I don't want to go all the way back. I think we're going to clear this section out for sure. Let's do it like this. Let's remove the zoning we have here. Gives me a lot of good space to work with. Let's also remove the zoning we have here. And let's use this point as our dividing line. Okay? It's going to have to change up how that works, and that's just, it is what it is. Let's use our French style housing. They're going to be 3 deep. I'm fine with that. Let those start to zone in and get themselves all happy. The question is, do we keep some of this pathing? I think we may. I think what I'd like to do, and this is where we're going to start getting into a little bit of detailing potentially. Nothing too extravagant, but I do want to see a little bit of detail throughout this city. I think we're going to turn this all off. Let's do this. Let's bring this along this side here. Oh. Not if it does that, though. There we go. Yep. Can we get a little connection here without creating... Yeah. So that kind of makes a little corner piece there. This gives us another little space to zone here, and I think we are going to go ahead and do just a little commercial building there. I think that would be valuable for everyone living in this space. Let's go ahead and do another path because it kind of mirrors this path here, and I wouldn't even mind going through and giving that some crosswalks. But we're going to remove one of them. We don't need both. There we go. So now we have a crosswalk, which I think works for what we've got going on here. That connects you into there. This area will leave trees for now, and I think we need to plant some additional trees here. But we now have a nice set of buildings along this row. Now coming over here to Sycamore Glen, this is our new neighborhood, which I'm really excited about. Let's go ahead and switch over to our regular roads. And the first thing I want to do before we build anything is just give this a quick little smooth. So we've got some beautiful houses coming in along this side, but now Sycamore Glen has 54 employees who I guess all work at the school. It's only servicing this neighborhood right now because this is the only school in the area. And Belmont has so many students that that building can't even keep up, which is just crazy. Extension. It's going to be needed. Now we can hopefully support a few more kids. Ironically, though, I like that this school, which is districted for Belmont, is not even in Belmont. This is going to go over here. I think we remove this alleyway. We move the school over here, right along that edge. It's going to change up those two buildings, but now we've got a little bit of a better building placement there. All right, Sycamore Glen. Let's give this some roads. Looks pretty nice. We got some beautiful trees around there. I don't think I mind any of those crosswalks. That's all fine with me. Okay. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do some zoning and we're going to do some districting, some services in this area. So first things first, let's start with the services because I know we deleted one of these clinics and I would love to potentially put in a medical hospital. So you know what? I think this just changed some things for me. Let's remove all of that. Can we fit the French medical hospital right here? We cannot. Do we place it in the middle here somewhere? Because I was thinking this is going to be parks, but it could be parks and include some beautiful buildings. I'm struggling because I don't want to necessarily break this portion of the grid. I feel like it'd be too valuable to have that. And I don't know how we would reconnect to that section. But I also think that placing it along this road is going to highlight the fact that we're going downhill too much for my liking. Let's place it there and see what it looks like. It's actually not bad. This is the extension wing. Adds a large wing extension behind the main building at the cost of the foliage. The patient capacity increases greatly. Additionally, introduces vehicle lanes in the side alley, which can then be used by ambulances, delivery trucks, and garbage trucks. I think it's worth it. I do. Let's use Move It and just scoot it over here so it's along the edge a bit nicer. There's a few trees kind of clipping in here, but I think that's okay. We should be able to reach them relatively easily. So then that means we've got to change up Rosewood Lane. So let's send Rosewood Lane along this side. to here. And then send Rosewood Lane at the 90, turn everything else off except for the 90, and just keep it a straight tool right to there. So then we're going to go a little path here just to kind of force that zoning there. Did that stay? It did. Perfect. So along this road, I think I want to go ahead and do a little bit of commercial zoning. I feel like that would be something valuable. I am going to use the EU style zoning in this area so we can get something a little bit different than what we already have. Then in this little area, I think we could definitely place an additional service. We've got really, really great health coverage. Do we have as good crematorium coverage over here? Availability, 88%. I mean, everybody seems to have what they need. So I think we're okay. Garbage, we're not going to place there. That would never work there. We do need to think about schools. There's going to be people living in this area, and they're going to need access to education. I think what we will do is a city elementary school. Wow, it's actually quite large. Larger than I thought it was going to be. Maybe we do the French elementary school in this area. Right here along this road. And then for the high school, this German high school looks really nice. Like, I'm a fan. I am a fan. Let's place it right here and see how that looks. Looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and just limit these to Sycamore. And actually, you can be Sycamore and you can be Washington. I think you can do both because there's not a ton of people living in Washington just yet. It's not true. There's enough that it would take over this entire school. What do we have here in terms of extensions? An extension wing, and then we have an upgrade building. Yep. We'll do both of those. And so now we have a decent set of zoning here. Now let's go ahead and just zone in here a ton of residential and commercial. I think along this road here, we did German here, so I would love to continue that. Let's do the German mixed density because we're along a main road. There we go. It backs up right to the back of the hospital. Then in this central area, we're along a main road again. So let's do some German buildings along here. Some German mixed housing. And then here, I think we would do the same thing. I would put a large set of mixed buildings here. And then we could switch over to some just general housing. I think we're going to switch this to the French townhomes. And we're going to fill the rest of this area with French townhomes. I think that was going to look really nice. We have a large plaza, which we could definitely fit in here somewhere. And I almost wonder if we could fit two kind of back to back. We can. Okay, let's do these back to back. Let's use M. We're going to scoot this over to here. And then I think we could also do a terrain texture of grass surface 2, I think is what I want. Just for a brief moment when you're walking through here, you can escape the noise of the city. And this pays homage, I think, to the original Washington Glade parks that were here, that we made by hand. Those were centered around a train station, but I think these make a lot more sense. Speaking of train stations, I think there could be great value in us adding in a train station here at the end of Sycamore Street. Let's take a quick little look and see what kind of station we could slap in here. And we do have a French train station that I never built, which I think could look really nice right here. So let's quickly give this game a brief pause. Let's remove that section of track and let's place our French train station right here along the river's edge, which I think is beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Let's get this to connect up and in. Let's do... How do I find that point? Right about there-ish. And then this one here, if I can, I'm just going to connect it straight on back. And then similarly here, let's get rid of this. And if I recall, this had an unnecessary bump in it. Yeah, let's get rid of that unnecessary bump. So about here and connect that in. That way there's enough space for a train to kind of sit in waiting if they need to. Okay, let's see what upgrades this has. It only has one. Waiting room extensions. It gives 30 additional comfort. I think I would love to have that. I think that's just valuable. And then let's also look at our train network and make sure that this train is stopping here as well. So now we've added in the new Washington Glade train station, which is very exciting. We have a whole new stop along this route. With that, I think we need to figure out what happens in these two larger areas. Since the point of this expansion was to kind of tie our city back together, I think if we make all of this park, that's not really doing what we were setting out to do. So I do think we have to kind of put in some of these additional connections and bring this city back to, connect the city back up to other parts of itself. So let's go ahead and put in a road here that gives me clear area to do some zoning here. The problem I run into here is that if I bring this out, we're now adding even more intersections to an already pretty intense intersection in this portion of the city. Luckily, since it's all one way, it's not too terrible. It's all going the same direction, which makes the traffic a bit simpler to follow. But I would like to see something a little different going on there. And you can notice we're getting the blending of the styles. We have the row homes from the American style with the row homes from the French style. So let's think about this. We could do something like this, where we have this road here. We bring this road out and we connect it over to this section. Actually, that's almost exactly a 45. So I think we definitely do that. And then I think we send up a road right through the middle here at the 90 and just fill in that block as well. Also means we could leave this road here, or we can maybe think about changing that up in the future. But I think this is pretty decent there. And I think for this section, because we now have a train station, I think we're doing ourselves a disservice if we do not continue the connections. So let's go and do a connection through here. And then let's use an alleyway and do a connection right through the center, just like we've done in other portions of this area. We're going to use this as our starting place. Okay, now let's get rid of some of these unnecessary lights and unnecessary crosswalks. We're going to remove the light there, but I think we will leave the crosswalk just because it's directly in front of that train station. And now we can fill in both of these areas. So we've got this little French-German neighborhood here. I think we need to slide in real quick and throw in some American-style townhouses as well. So we're just going to go in areas that are still being built. They're not fully completed yet. Put in a few of these American style buildings. That way we're kind of mixing the styles together and creating a unique feel for Sycamore Glen. Let's just go to this tool and drop in a ton of residential along these central roads. I think here we'll drop in a ton of residential along these central roads. Okay. And then I think we can also intersperse some French buildings as well. So we'll just switch some of these out there. And then we'll do the same thing over here. Switch out some of these to have some French buildings interspersed. And then let's also grab the German buildings. And we'll place a few of those in here as well. I think here we could do one here. We can make that corner one a large French or German building. We'll do this here. We'll do this one. And then maybe we'll do this section as well. Just trying to mix the styles up a little bit and give us something different to look at. I want to see how this works. And if we hate it, we can always go back and switch it. Let's delete any of these buildings that are no longer going to work with their current zoning. And then let's go ahead and give this a bit of commercial, because I think we need a little bit more of that in this area. We're going to use the medium density commercial buildings here. meet high density business. That's what this stuff is, right? Let's do it 3 back. And actually, remove this zoning from here. Let's leave this little section open. It gave us a bunch of 2s, which I don't love. So let's send it 4 back. And then let's delete just a few of the buildings that are already here and see what that does. There we go. That's a bit nicer. All right. With that, I'm going to go through and just throw in some trees, give this a little bit of detailing, maybe sneak in a park or 2, and then we'll check in at the end. Okay, so it's raining, and you know this game. When it starts to rain in spring, it never seems to ever stop raining. Ignoring that I've not done anything to fix the buses, right? Because we haven't gotten to that yet. But look at how this looks now that we have connected the city together. It actually feels like it's not just cut in half. I think this is such a better way of using this space. It also has totally changed our population. We're almost at 170, or we were almost at 170. I guess we lost a few. We're still gaining people per hour. So, I mean, this is insane how many people have been brought in here. But what we've got over here is, if you start from the right, we've got our elementary school with our football field. We've got a few other parks over here. We've got some tennis courts, a basketball court. We've got a community pool a little bit further to the right. And then if you go into the center, we've got a number of residential buildings there with a small strip of commercial. And then we have 2 large parks that are neighboring to a huge new German building block area. And what I like about that is that it kind of feels like a developer came in, bought up that block, built it out how he wanted, even if it looked different than the rest of the city, and just moved on with it, which I think looks awesome. And then as we move further down, we've got our hospital, we've got our Sycamore Glen area, little auto save, which is a mix of different styles, which I'm still trying to figure out if I enjoy. I kind of like that we've married the styles and there's variation. However, the French buildings, because how white they are, I don't know, they look a little bit strange to me next to some of these other buildings. I'm really excited with how this turned out. I think all around it looks amazing. I think being able to tie in 2 parts of the city that have been completely severed, other than 2 major roads, which always seem to back up, is just awesome. I mean, look at this. We've now got, get to regular view, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 roads connecting these sections of the city. And it just finally feels like this area is complete. And I think this little Central Park moment looks really nice here as well. And when you zoom out, I like the variation that these new styles give us, although I don't know if mixing the German, the French, and the American will work too well here. So we might actually go in and change out some of these buildings. I'm loving the roof color of these German buildings. I think they slide in really nicely with some of the American buildings. I think the French buildings are very specific and very unique. And so I don't know if those work great, but these French low rent housing are maybe some of my favorite buildings ever. Like, these look amazing. It kind of looks like Section 8 housing in New York or something. Like, it gives you that type of aesthetic. If only they could go a little bit higher, it would even be better. But I just am obsessed with how those look, especially when they fill in areas like this corner. But all around, I think this build turned out really nice. I'm excited we were able to slide in an additional train station there. I'll keep doing some monitoring over the next few minutes or so and just see if there's any kind of issues that come up. But for the most part, I think that's the end of this episode here. So leave your thoughts and feedback down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.